Hey everyone, and welcome to this Monday edition of FreightWaves Now. Hope everybody had a fun and relaxing weekend. First up, Nick Austin with the weather.
Welcome to FreightWaves weather for your Monday. I'm FreightWaves meteorologist Nick Austin. Hope you had a great weekend out there. We're going to have some trouble spots, as usual on any given summer day here across the lower 48 states. Drivers will be running into delays today, particularly across the Midwest. That's where we're going to see the biggest problems today. So anywhere from parts of the Dakotas and Sioux Falls, all the way up to Minneapolis, into parts of Wisconsin as well, and even all the way down around Waterloo, Iowa. All the areas here in this yellow shaded region, yeah, several interstates affected here. There are going to be scattered severe storms across this area. So drivers will occasionally run into some really heavy rain, possibly some localized flooding, some areas of large hail, and really gusty winds as well. So it's going to be a little bit of a problem area in this region. The severe weather will probably shift a little bit further back to the west for tomorrow and Wednesday, but for today, on your Monday, it's going to be in this area right here. Next, we're going to talk about heat, especially across the South and the Gulf Coast states, anywhere from Texas all the way across the Gulf Coast, even into Florida, all the way to South Carolina. Temperatures will be well above normal, even for this time of the year. We're talking about temperatures in the mid to upper 90s this afternoon as far as high temperatures. But particularly from Montgomery, Alabama, over into Macon, up towards Athens, Georgia, maybe central and parts of southern Georgia, the heat index will get well above 100, anywhere from 105 to even close to 110 in some spots. So the heat along with the humidity is really going to cause problems for any drivers that have to spend any length of time outside of your trucks. Avoid that at all costs. It's still summer, so there's still going to be a lot of heat across the South. Now, out west, we're talking about the possibility of wildfires, possibly new wildfires starting, especially around the Las Vegas metro area, parts of eastern California, all the areas shaded in yellow right here. There is potential for some wildfires starting, and because of the winds kicking up, it's possible that any fires that do start could spread really quickly as far as the smoke spreading across some interstates and other major highways. And also, right here in eastern California, near the Plumas National Forest along US 395, the Walker Fire is getting bigger. It's only about 1% contained, so any drivers going on secondary routes, especially US 395, right in this part of northeastern California, very low visibility lingering into this morning and possibly part of this afternoon because of that fire that is continuing to spread. That's what you need to know about today's weather. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also be careful out there.
Welcome to your carrier update, sponsored by AT&T Business. My name is Kyle Cunningham. Today we're going to take a little step back in time and talk a little bit about the trends of the outbound tender volume that we've seen over this year and the course of last year. As we jump into the chart here, we can see this blue mountain is our outbound tender volume for the entirety of the USA from May to around September of 2018. Now, these big drop-offs that you see here are the holiday periods when shippers are shutting down and there's not freight moving out. So we all know that the summer comes and it gets hot, and the winter comes and it gets cold. But what day does it exactly happen? Sonar gives you that ability, and we can see here that generally the periods of time, whether that's going to be July 4th, Memorial Day here, or Labor Day down here, it's taking a general 7 days from the time that the volume turns down to when the volume turns back up and is renormalized essentially. If we move into the next chart, we can take a look and see what happens with tender lead time. So this yellow line here is your lead time, the time from the acceptance of the tender to the actual pickup of the load. Lead time is going to increase before these times happen, drop off significantly as the holiday periods come, and then pick back up eventually as time goes on. Now you can see from June to July of last year, the lead time took a little bit to get back up to normal periods. Now remember, as that lead time increases, you're going to see a weaker rate to the truck. As your lead time is decreasing, you're going to see a stronger rate to the truck. So these time periods flow along. You can see a little bit of a turn down here, but let's move to the next chart. We'll take a look at a big picture scale of this year. From May until where we're at now in September, it's been about an 8% rise in outbound volume. A really great thing in terms of optionality. You can see here the same story, these general turndowns when the holiday periods come. So we're coming right out of Labor Day, should be back to complete normalization. As always, always, make sure you stay tuned each and every day for your carrier update.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the broker update. So let's get started. I've got a map of the outbound tender rejection index back here, which is something that brokers really need to pay attention to, mostly because this is going to give us the earliest indication of when market is starting to tighten up. Any of these blues are going to tell you that's going to be your best chances for increased upward rate pressure. Also, chances for brokers need to go to those markets if they have any shippers in these markets and make sure that their loads are covered that day. Right now, we're not seeing a lot of disruption in the market. You see a lot of reds. Everything's cooling back down after a Labor Day and Hurricane Dorian. You still have some disruption down here around the Florida Panhandle, Jacksonville, Tallahassee, Tifton, Georgia. You need to make sure that those areas are covered today. If we go to my next chart, we're watching tender rejections really start to soften back down, but they're not softening to the extent that we really expect them to. 4.53%, down slightly from the Labor Day and Dorian disruption. You see that little hiccup right there. We think a lot of that had to do with Dorian last week, but they're not falling at a steady rate. And if we go to the next chart, one of the reasons for that is that volumes are still very elevated year over year. You see this right here in brown. This is our outbound tender volume index. It's still way up, at least 4% year over year versus 2018, which was supposed to be this very robust market. And looking at September of last year in the orange line, September was a pretty strong month. But if this continues, that's going to keep capacity a lot tighter than expected. So brokers may need to keep a special eye on all of their markets moving into September, as volumes are expected to get a little bit hotter. And that's all we got for today. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and follow us on all our social media outlets, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and have a great Monday.